Hello humans, hello women, hello men, hello girls, hello boys, hello non-binary humans, hello air, hello concrete, hello seats, hello screens, hello world. Thanks for sharing your presence with me. I am SOFF, and today I want to take you onto a magical journey through the realm of possibilities, creative freedom, and transcendental experience. To me, it's the most fun to dive deep into my imagination to create the future. Now, we as a species live in very exciting times. No longer is our consciousness just witnessing what's physically around us. We all became etheric bodies, traveling through space like gods, touching immortality with every interaction. We became another bodies, another personas. We became avatars in different dimensions. Our physical bodies live in symbiosis with phones, those tiny gatekeepers we keep in our pockets that connect us to the world of manifested impossibilities. We are no longer human. We are transhuman. We are no longer Homo sapiens. We are Homo technos. Yet, the digital sphere is a newborn baby, and the virtual reality is a fetus. So right now, we have the freedom to create the future. We have the freedom to create new gods. We have the freedom to create a whole new world. I want to invite you to participate in that. All you have to do is follow my voice. We will start our journey in the museum. Now, look around. Witness the physical presence. Feel the gravity. Breathe in, breathe out, and close your eyes. Welcome to this expedition within the spheres of your mind and fantasy. We are exploring possibilities today. We are trying to imagine the impossible. Imagine what could be possible. Imagine what we want. Imagine what the museum of the future could look like, could be like, feel like. Today, we are exploring the metaverse. First, let's try to make your imagination a white canvas. Moving on from your perception of the physical world, moving on from everything you just saw. Imagine a wide, empty space. There is nothing, just pure emptiness. There are no physical limitations, no prescribed structures, no default setting, no social norms except the ones we bring ourselves. In this emptiness, there could be anything. Art is art and will always be art. It can take on many forms. Art is a shapeshifter. Art is a time traveler. It exists like nature, just to be itself. And that won't change in the digital sphere. Art in the metaverse could be in many forms. Photo, video, interaction, text, installation, sound, painting, sculpture, process. 1,000-meter high collage of photos from your camera roll. A text written by someone in the current moment, thousands of miles away. Printed on your avatar's arm. 360-degree videos in the form of spheres floating all around. A never-ending installation within a tube as high as Mount Everest. Thousands of strings connecting to each other and shifting their appearance like tides. See-through screens with iridescent videos of 300-million-year-old fish. Sounds that create worlds inside your ears. A miniature painting of a medieval pub scene that you can step into and be inside the painting. All made out of cyber materials. Out of materials we don't even know yet. Materials with characteristics we can only imagine. See-through giants, melting, burning, vibrating material. Objects and scales that change when you enter the room. Endless width and the narrowest of the narrow. All of this will be shown in museums, galleries, and off spaces of the future. But before we begin our tour inside the Meta Museum, look at yourself. What would you look like if physics is not the matter? Would you wear shoes if your feet didn't have to be protected and couldn't get dirty? What clothes would you wear if you didn't see yourself? How would you mold your body in total freedom? What would be the color of your eyes if everything was possible? If they could be blue, green, black, red, see-through, or even glowing in pink? Would you like to wear hats at all time? Or have the tiniest feet? Or the biggest? Would you experiment with shapes and sizes? Or would you recreate your physical body as it is right now and wear the same clothes in the digital sphere as you do now? What would all of this mean for our physical identities if everything was open and freed from its physical traditions and concepts? I mean, you could imagine to be a dragon or a fly, a shapeless amorph figure that moves through space, a gorgeous goddess-like being without a prescribed gender, broader shoulders and broader hips, shapes of muscles entangled with shapes of plants. You could be 2D flat like a paper or as tall as an elephant. In this world, you can have fun with your looks and experiment without physical restrictions. You could look the same as you look in the physical world or completely different. That's up to you. You can even try out new things and transfer them into the physical world if you like to. Whatever picture comes to your mind, think a little about it. This is your avatar. This is your voice. This is your body. This is you. Now that you chose your avatar, let's look at our interface. How do we navigate in this world? There could be new ways of documentation within the metaverse. You could have a hologram version of a smartphone in your pocket at all times and take photos, screenshots, make notes, Google something, call your bestie with. Or maybe everything is just a swipe. Or maybe there is a menu like on your computer that is framing your site or the room you are in. What if you had the chance to scale everything you saw inside the museum? What if you could edit parts of the art? Or even the museum itself? In any case, how would you move through this? Would you fly through the halls? Or crawl? Or dance your way around? Imagine everything is possible. You could creep and crawl and fly and dance at the same time. You could move in waves. You could just float or hover. How would you prefer to move? Okay then, if you feel your digital body moving, let's enter the museum. Keep in mind that this is only one version of how it could be. One version of how a museum could use the potential of a digital sphere. I will show you around. Breathe in, breathe out, and welcome to the entrance hall of the Museum of the Future. Imagine a giant observatory as you enter the space. Everything is white around you and magnificent, though peaceful. You spot architecture that merges styles from all centuries and all continents into never-before-seen or even thought formations. There are elements of Ethiopian filigree sculptures, Baroque ornaments, geometric forms, Japanese reliefs, organic structures, Sudanese wooden masks, American minimal art, ancient spears, Greek sculptures, and even World of Warcraft architecture. Everything merges into each other and creates a strikingly yet beautifully and peacefully overwhelming environment. You feel at ease there, like you understand something about humanity. As if you stand in front of a mountain and have this tickle in the back of your head. You realize that art is what connects people through time and space. Something very holy. This place feels peaceful and homely, even though it takes your breath away each time you enter the hall. You can touch the walls and the floor and the roof if you like to. You stroll around, making your way between the columns. The building is almost round, an octaedra with a few windows that are much darker than the glow of this beautiful place. In the middle of this nearly circular-shaped room, you find an interactive map over a see-through star-shaped part of the floor that exposes the universe around the building in its shining colors. The outside is vast and empty like the real universe, but there are lights and shooting stars made from glitter and dust. Now you see the windows again, and each of them points to a different sphere outside the building, foreshadowing possibilities. On the map you see 8 different circles that each mark a room outside the building, a room that itself is a tiny planet full of art. You read the names of them: water, concrete, white cube, forest, laboratory, colorful fog, historic iconic, and cyberspace. The elevator moves through space, bringing you to the room of your choice. Though we say room to make things easier, they really are spheres with their own dynamics. Not a room with 4 walls in the classical sense. Are you ready to explore them? Let's go! You reach the elevator by moving through the entry hall. If you push its shiny buttons, it brings you to the planet of your choice. As you're standing in the transparent vehicle, you're spotting the planets from the outside. Collectively, they make a beautiful picture, each one of them in their very own character. The first planet you reach is called Water, and it looks almost like Earth from space, as it is blue and shiny from the outside. When arriving, you just see a water surface, and then the elevator dives deep into the surface, into the water sphere. The walls of this space are made of water. It is quietly flowing, reacting slightly to your touch. It can feel like you're underwater or inside a ball of water. It pulls you completely into the cup. The water sphere could host performance works or sound pieces, for example. They would fit beautifully in this space. Let's explore the next one. Carefully stepping back into the elevator, you push the button saying concrete, leading you to the next sphere. It's a slightly more traditional room with walls in the look of concrete. Depending on the exhibition, the walls can change their size, angle, or even color. Mostly this room is common to a lot of contemporary art lovers' eyes, as it stands in the tradition of industrial buildings functioning as a modern art exhibition space. What do you think? Is this still too much for you as a surrounding for art? Would you prefer an even cleaner space? Then you will love the White Cube Sphere, referred to the most classic exhibition design for contemporary art. Because some artworks are best shown in pure emptiness, it still feels relevant from time to time. This is more a sphere than a cube though. Walls are only installed if the artists really wish for it, but most of the time it's an empty white place where every art object feels like it was extracted from its natural surrounding, almost like making it the platonic idea of itself. No floor, no ceiling, just an endless absent sphere. How do you feel about this? If anything was possible, would you still choose the familiar ways of presenting art, or prefer something completely different? As art, and also the digital, is often seen as the opposite of nature. How about diffusing the lines between them a little bit? I want to show you another room. It is called Forest. Bringing humankind into this context feels very special. Art in the context of a deep forest with leaves and trees and little animals on the ground and bigger animals roaming around can show the phenomenon of culture as something that is very much human. We see ourselves as human beings in relation to nature there. This sphere is very immersive, but not distracting from the art. It just highlights certain aspects of it. Imagine a holographic reenactment of a performance piece from the 60s here, or 80s sculptures, for example. How would a Jeff Koons bunny look there in comparison to the MoMA? But who says that the artwork has to be extracted from the place it was made in and the artist's mind at all? Why don't we look at art in the context of development? If you like this idea, you will love the next room. Laboratory is the place for experiments. Every artist or curator gets a white sheet in there to design the exhibition space themselves. You want your photographs in a cornfield that seems to be endless? Say no more. Icelandic wood carvings work weirdly good in a 90s office environment? We got you. You think young painters' dreamy pastel-colored nudes look best between clouds and sky? Manageable. Or is that too much for you? Do you think less is more and just want a cozy atmosphere without too much information? Then the next place will do. Back inside the elevator, the following sphere looks like cotton candy from up here. Similar to the white cube, colorful fog extracts the art from a reality of life, but presenting it within a soft and ethereal atmosphere that can change its colors as a matter of reaction to the viewer or time. Depending on the work shown, the colors and strength of the fog can vary. There could be a tequila sunrise-like sphere showing new Chinese sculptures, or different body colors surrounding portrait paintings, for example. Talking about classical art, how about a classical exhibition space? The next sphere on our journey is called Historic Iconic. From medieval city parts to Leonardo da Vinci's studio to the Louvre in the 20s, this sphere tries to go back in history and explores exhibition spaces of past times. How it is and was used centuries ago and miles away. Memorable interior designs of art showcasings in history can highlight other ways of looking at art, shifting our perception, expanding our horizon, and our idea of what art is, was, and could be seen as. The complete opposite of this, and our last stop for today, is the cyberspace. Having fun with its own narrative, the cyberspace picks up a pop culture sense of what the internet looks like, playing with grids, neon tube-like structures, and matrix-like flowing number formations. This sphere is ironic metaverse at its finest, and tries to finally play out the fantasy humanity had for decades now, that your avatar can fly through cyberspace completely detached from gravity. It could present classical works in new contexts, or show the newest 3D modeling architectural sculptures, for example. Kind of like a must-have exhibition space for a meta museum. Now, if you feel ready to leave, let's go back to the observatory. You step back into the elevator and have a last look on the planets we just visited. All of these spheres are fluid for whatever is needed. Fluid for new techniques and ideas. The collective of art historians, artists, architects, biologists, and IT specialists that constructed this space is not born yet. But there will be dreamers and explorers, lovers and fighters that will create a place like this one day. People will understand that the digital sphere is no limitation to humanity, but an extension and something transcendental that goes beyond the physical world. Something spiritual that can open up more possibilities instead of taking them away from us. The Meta Museum, just like an observatory, is a place of looking outwards, of expanding our consciousness and exploring the never-before seen. What do you think? Which sphere is your favorite? How would you build a digital exhibition space? How would you create a meta museum? How would you create the future? Write it in the comments!